afternoon, dear audience. Today, the students of classes 9 and 10 participating in the Inter-House English Elocution are here to share their passion for elocution with all of us. I would like to welcome and thank the judges for this afternoon's competition. They are Mrs. S. Money, Headmistress of the Junior School, Miss E. David, and Miss Lynette Barrett. Caring and helpful, they have always been a constant and untiring source of support and encouragement to all the senior school programs and competitions. Thank you, judges, for your unstinting support. Now, I would like to request Vanika Gupta of Condon House to come up on stage to present her piece.
Snoring Beauty as told by Nanny Piggins by Roald Dahl. Once upon a time, a princess was born, and she was the most beautiful baby anyone had ever seen, said Nanny Piggins. I thought you didn't bring us in official judgments based on appearances, said Darren. I don't, said Nanny Piggins. For humans, but wasn't this princess a person? Asked Michael. No, she was a pig, said Nanny Piggins. Ooh, said the children, finally catching on. The king and queen wanted to show off the baby to everyone, so they threw a party. Obviously, they were hoping to get some really good gifts, so they had to be careful about the guest list. They invited all the fairies in the land, which was very clever because fairies are magical. And the king and queen were 100% correct. As the fairies arrived, they imagined up the best dresses they could ever imagine. The king and queen were over the moon. Their plan was working brilliantly until an uninvited guest arrived. She was the bad fairy. And because she had not been invited, this bad fairy was in a very bad mood. She spat in the punch bowl and purposefully stood on the queen's stove, which was just spiteful. Then she saw the baby. Let me see the little Winnie baby. I just want to give her a present, cried the bad fairy. The bad fairy made her way over to the bassinet and peered inside at the perfect bundle of cuteness. Let me see. I curse you! Just one prick to your skin will make you fall into a deep sleep for 100 years. The king and queen ordered that all pins and needles be removed from the castles. People's bags were falling down everywhere. Socks were full of holes because no one could do any sewing. But the baby was all right. Eventually, the princess grew into a beautiful young woman. Unfortunately, the only thing she wanted was to get her ear pierced. And then she wanted to visit the next kingdom. Then she came across the bad fairy. Excuse me, madam, can you please tell me the way to the nearest ear-piercing salon? I can indeed, said the bad fairy. It just so happens that I'm a qualified ear-piercer. I can pierce your ears right now. And before the princess could say, oh, thank you, the bad fairy jammed the nail in her ear. What's happening to me? Asked the princess. And with that, the princess collapsed in the meadow into a deep sleep. One day, Prince Newell was riding through the forest. He got down from his horse when he heard it. Heard what? Asked Derek. A dreadful noise, said Nanny Piggins. As the prince walked towards the sound, the forest got thicker and everything darker. Eventually, the prince came to a clearing and saw the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. And she was making the most horrendous noise. She was snoring. The poor man was seriously concerned. He didn't know what to do. And then He thought she had suddenly stopped breathing. So he decided to give her CPR, said Nanny Piggins. And then the spell was broken. But the princess slapped him hard across his face that his nose started to bleed. Seeing the blood gush from his nose, the prince fainted away. The princess had no idea what was going on. As far as she knew, she was on her way to get her ear pierced. And then she just drifted off as she leaned towards the prince and saw how kind he looked. And then she fell in love. And he didn't, said Nanny Piggins. While it is wise to worry that people should marry stunningly good looking, then he just snapped her right away. Then all the kingdom lived happily ever after.
Has been taken from The Witches by Roald Dahl. Strictly private, this room is reserved for the Royal Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children. That sign had led me into the room, and now I was imprisoned in a room full of witches. Yes, you heard it right. There was the Grand Witch talking to them all. You may release your shoes, barked the Grand High Witch. I heard a sigh of relief going up from all the witches in the room. Oh heavens, I thought. Oh hell, oh Lord, have mercy on me. These foul, bald-headed females are child killers, every one of them. And here I am, imprisoned in the same room, and I can't escape. My grandmother had told me, the dirtier you are, the harder it is for a witch to smash you out. Witches of England, shouted the Grand Witch. Witches of England, she yelled. I am having my breakfast this morning, cried the Grand High Witch. And I am looking out of the window at the beach. And what am I seeing? I am asking you, what am I seeing? I am seeing a revolting sight. I am seeing hundreds. I am seeing thousands of rotten, repulsive little children. Why have we not rubbed them all out? These filthy, smelly children. I demand maximum results. So here are my orders. My orders are that every single child in this country shall be rubbed out, scabushed, scabbarted, scabittered, and frittered. Do I make myself clear? And I heard one witch at the end of the front row saying aloud, all of them? We can't possibly wipe out all of them. Who said that? She snapped. It was you. Was it not? A witch who dares to say I'm wrong will not be with us very long. A moment later, a stream of sparks flew straight towards the one who had dared to speak. A smell of burning meat filled the room. I hope you haven't forgotten, dear audience, that while all of this witches in the back room. All the witches suddenly stopped and turned and looked towards the speaker. "What is it?" asked the Grand High Witch. "Mildred here, just got a bit of dog's droppings, your grandness," someone called back to her. "What rubbish is this?" shouted the Grand High Witch. "She has dog's droppings on the brain." "Hang on!" cried the witch called Mildred. "Hang on, everybody! Can the rest of you smell it?" "Find it!" screamed the Grand High Witch. "Track it down! Riddle it out! Follow your notice! Did you get it?" The hairs on my head were standing up like the bristles of a nail brush, and a cold sweat was breaking out all over me. It must be exterminated immediately! But I wasn't going to wait for that. I was off across the platform like a streak of lightning. I was astonished at my own speed. I leapt over Witch's feet, right and left. It isn't so bad after all, I thought to myself, to be tiny as well as speedy when there is a bunch of dangerous females after your blood. Thank you.
By Maya Angelou. In my young years, I took pride in the fact that love was called a lady. In fact, there were so few public acknowledgements of the female presence that I felt personally honored whenever nature and large ships were referred to as feminine. But as I matured, I began to resent being considered a sister to a changeling as fickle as luck, as aloof as an ocean, and as frivolous as nature. The phrase, "a woman always has the right to change her mind," played so aptly into the negative image of the female that I made myself a victim to an unwavering decision. Even if I made an inane or stupid choice, I stuck by it rather than be like a woman and change my mind. Being a woman is hard work, not without joy and even ecstasy, but still relentless, unending work. Becoming an old female may require being born with a certain genitalia, inheriting long-living genes, and the fortune not to be run over by an out-of-control truck, but to become and remain a woman, command the existence and employment of genius. She must resist herself from considering herself a lesser version of her male counterpart. She is not an authoress, poetess, Jewess, negress, and now even read in university parlance a rectoress. She is not weak. It is imperative that a woman must live long lives and be happy. It has been said that laughter is therapeutic and amiability lengthens the lifespan. Women must be happy and live long lives. Even if she is nervous, even if she is weak, she must live long life.
The last battle by Alfred Norris. Kings of the earth! Kings of the earth! The trumpet rings for warning, and like the golden swords that ray from out the setting sun, the shout goes out on the trumpet mouth across the hills of morning. Wake! For the last great battle dawns, and all the wars are done. Now, all the plains of Europe smoke with marching hoofs of thunder, and through each rugged mountain gorge the guns begin to gleam, and round 100 cities where the women watch and wonder. The tramp of marching armies aches and faints into a dream. The King of Ind is drawing nigh, 100 leagues clouded, with along this earth-shaking march from east to western sea. The King of the setting sun is here, all the seas are shrouded, with sails that carry half the world to front eternity. Soon shall the darkness roll around the grappling of nations, a darkness lit with deadly gleams of blood, steel, and fire. Soon shall the great paeans of earth's war-worn generation roar to the thunder-clouded air around war's red funeral pyre. But here, defeat and victory are both allied with heaven. The enfolding sky makes every foe the center of a dome. But here, each fights for God and his own right, and unto each is given the right to find the heart of heaven wherever he finds his home. High, oh, who shall live and who shall die, and who shall take the glory? Here at the meeting of the roads, where every cause is right, oh, who shall live and who shall die, and who shall tell the story? Each strikes for faith and for fatherland in that immortal fight. High on the grey old hills of time, the last immortal rally, under the storm of the last great tattered flag, shall laugh to see the blood of Armageddon roll from every smoking valley, and shall laugh aloud and rush to death for God and for chivalry. O kings of the earth, kings of the earth, oh, who then shall inherit the kingdom, the power, and the glory? For the world's old light grows dim, and the cry through all goes up all night to the dark enfolding spirit. Each of you fight for God and home, but God, what of him? Thank you.
The Marvelous Plan by Roald Dahl. George sat himself down at the table in the kitchen. He was shaking a little. Oh, how he hated Grandma. How he hated that horrid old witchy woman. And all of a sudden, he had a tremendous urge to do something about her. Something whopping. Something absolutely terrific. A real shocker. A sort of explosion. He wanted to blow away the witchy smell that hung about her in the next room. He may have been only 8 years old, but he was a brave little boy, and he was ready to take this old woman on. I'm not going to be frightened by her, he said softly to himself, but he was frightened, and that's why he wanted to explode away. Well, not quite away, but he did want to shake the old woman up a bit. Very well, then, what should it be? this whopping, terrific, exploding shocker for Grandma? He would have liked to put a fiver banger under her chair, but he didn't have one. He would have liked to put a long green snake down the back of her dress, but he didn't have a long green snake. He would have liked to put 6 big black rats in the room with her and lock the door, but he didn't have 6 big black rats. As George sat there pondering this interesting problem, his eye fell upon the bottle of Grandma's brown medicine standing on the sideboard. Rotten stuff it seemed to be. 4 times a day, a large spoonful of it was shoveled into her mouth, and it didn't do her the slightest bit of good. She was just as horrid after she'd had it as she'd had been before. The whole point of medicine, surely, was to make a person feel better. And if it didn't do that, then it was quite useless. So, hello, thought George suddenly. Aha! I know exactly what I'll do. I'll make her a new medicine. A medicine so strong, so fierce, and so fantastic. It will either cure her completely or blow off the top of her head. I'll make her a magic medicine. A medicine no doctor in the world has ever made before. George looked up at the kitchen clock. It said 10:05. There was nearly an hour left before Grandma's next dose was due at 11. Very well then, cried George, jumping up from the table. A magic medicine it shall be. So give me a bug and a jumping flea. Give me 2 snails and lizards 3. And a slimy squiggler from the sea, and the poisonous sting of a bumblebee, and the powdered bone of a wombat's knee, and the juice of the fruit of the juju tree, and 100 different things as well, each with a rather nasty smell. I'll stir them up, I'll boil them long, a mixture tough, a mixture strong, and then hey ho, down it goes, a nice big spoonful. Hold your nose, just gulp it down and have no fear. How do you like it, Granny dear? Will she go pop? Will she explode? Will she go flying down the road? Will she go poof in a puff of smoke? Will she start fizzing like a can of Coke? Who knows? Not I. Let's wait and see. I'm glad it's neither you or me. Oh, Grandma, if you only knew what I have got in store for you. Thank you.
From My Family and Other Animals, an autobiographical book by the British naturalist Gerald Dyer. It tells an exaggerated account of the years that he lived as a child with his mother and siblings on the Greek island of Corfu. It was Larry, of course, who started it. He was a small blonde firework, exploding ideas in other people's minds and then curling up with cat-like unctuousness and refusing to take any blame for the consequences. What we need is sunshine, said Larry one morning. Yes, dear, said Mother vaguely. Why don't we pack up and go to Greece? And that is how we landed in Greece. The house we purchased happened to be situated on the road leading to the local cemetery. The inhabitants of Corfu, it seemed, loved funerals. As each funeral passed, Mother
became more and more and more agitated. I am sure it is an epidemic, she exclaimed. Nonsense, mother. Don't fuss, said Larry. But dear, so many of them. It's unnatural. There's nothing unnatural about dying. People do it all the time. Yes, but they don't die like flies unless there's something wrong. Perhaps they save them up and bury them in bunches, suggested Larry. The next morning, we started our house hunt again because Mother wanted something less morbid. Madam Taral, said the house agent, quite exasperated. I have shown you every will I know, yet you do not want any. What these did you require? Didn't you notice? She asked. None of them had that. Oh, what? A that? You know, a bathroom. What a madam. What for you want a bathroom? He giggled. Haven't you got the sea? We stood in stunned silence, and just then we spotted Spyro, a short, barrel-bodied individual. Them's been warnings you. I will fix them. Can you get us a villa with a bathroom? Oh, I know a villa with a bathrooms. I will fix you. And that is how the Greek adventure started. The next day, Spyro drove Mother, Margot, and myself into town to buy furniture. We noticed that the town was more crowded, more boisterous than usual. We were jostled and pushed as we struggled to get back to the car. I think there's something going on, said Margot. We were swept along in the opposite direction to the car and thrown out in the town square. An elderly woman explained. It is Saint Spyridon. Today, we may enter the church and kiss his feet. He was the patron saint of the island. By now, we had been pushed into the crypt where the body of the said saint was kept. It had become evident that whether we wanted to or not, we were going to kiss Saint Spyridon's feet. I looked back and saw Mother making frantic efforts. Tell Marco not to kiss. Kiss the air. Kiss the air. A most unsanitary procedure, she said 10 minutes later, Mother hissing and fussing. I can't think what on earth and who would think to kiss someone's feet. But I kissed his feet, cried Margot. You didn't. How could you? I can't think who would on earth would kiss someone's feet. I thought it might cure my acne. The next morning, Margot went down with a severe attack of influenza. Thank you.
King Porus by Michael Madhusudan Dada. Loudly the midnight tempest sang. Ah, it was that dirge, fair liberty, and clouds in thundering accents roared, unheeded warning from on high. The rain in darksome torrents fell. Hydaspes' waves did onward sweep, like fiery passions headlong flow to meet the awakened calling deep. But India, thy unsuspecting sons did heedless slumber while the foe came in stealthy step of death, came as the tiger, noiseless, slow. But lo, the glorious flag to which the world in awe had bowed. Therein defiance waved on India's gaze, triumphant proud. But for the Macedonians, like autumn leaves by Simons driven, fell India's hardy sons, proud mountain oaks by thunders riven, and for their country's freedom bled, and laid on gore their glorious bed. But dauntlessly there stood King Porus, towering midst the foe, like a Himalaya peak with its eternal crown of snow, and on his brow did shine the jeweled, regal diadem. His milk-white elephant was decked with many a brilliant gem. They dared not look upon his face, they shrank before his burning gaze, for in his eye the hero shone, that feared not death, but high alone. The immortal thunderer's son, astonished eyed the heroic king. He saw him bravely charge like his red father, fulminating. He stood a stand in ocean rock, unmoved at their fierce thundering shock. But when the Mathian conqueror saw that with gaping wounds he bled, this is, he cried, such noble blood should not be shed. But when the Mathian conqueror, a herald was sent, where bleeding and faint stood midst the dying and the dead, King Porus boldly undismayed. Hail, brave and warlike prince, thy generous rival bids thee seize. Behold, there flies the flag that lulls dread war and wakens peace, like to a lion chained, that though faint bleeding stands in pride, with eyes where unsubdued, yet flashed fire looks that defied. King Porus boldly went, where midst the gay and flittering crowd sat godlike Alexander, while round earth's mightiest monarchs bowed. How should I treat thee? Asked the mighty king of Macedon. As a king responded in royal pride, India's haughty son. The king was pleased and him released. Thus India's crown was lost and won. Thank you.
An Unseasonable Situation by P.G. Woodhouse. Dignified 8-year-olds should not try to enter their homes through the bedroom windows after a late night party. That is what Mr. Westcott realized when he tried climbing several feet of the ladder only to find that his bedroom window was locked. To make matters worse, the ladder fell down, and Mr. Westcott found himself stuck all night on the windowsill. Finally, it was morning, and he spotted his nephew, Hugo, out on an early morning walk. "Hey, Hugo!" Hugo looked up. "Great Scott! What on earth are you doing up there?" "Uncle, never mind what I'm doing here. Help me down." "How did you get there?" "Never mind how I got here." "But what is the big idea?" "Put that ladder up, will you?" "Ladder?" "Yes, ladder." "What ladder?" "There is a ladder on the ground." "Where?" "There." "No, not there, there, there." Well, don't let go. What in the world were you doing up there? Asked Hugo after his uncle had climbed safely down. If you wish to know, a rung broke and the ladder slipped. But what were you doing on the ladder? Could you not keep saying, what? You sound like a duck. Well, why then? Why were you climbing ladders? I fancied I saw a swallow's nest. Swallow's nest? Yes, swallow's nest. Is that a problem? Did you think swallows nest in July? Why shouldn't they? Well, they don't. I never said they did. I merely said no swallow has ever nested in July. April. Swallows nest in April. A curse on all swallows then. But a curse on all swallows then. How long had you been up there? I don't know, since 5:30. 5:30? You mean you got up at 5:30 to look for swallow's nest in July? Will you kindly stop asking me all these questions? Just as you like, Uncle. But you should be careful, you know. A friend of mine once found his aunt sitting on the roof of the stables, playing the ukulele in a blue dressing gown. Is this living in the country that does it? We must get you out of here as soon as possible. The only person that needs to get out of here as soon as possible is you. Because if you don't disappear soon, I'll change you into mincemeat and feed you to sparrows in April, May, June, July, all year round. Hugo took the hint and made himself scarce. A sensible thing to do, don't you think? Thank you.
The Avenging Flight Attendant of Doom by Dave Barry. I'm in an airplane, strapped into my seat, no way to escape. For an hour we've been taxiing down Miami International Airport while lightning tries to hit us. Earlier I was hoping that the plane might at some point actually take off, but now I'm starting to root for the lightning because a direct strike might silence the two women sitting in front of me. There's only one empty seat between them, but they're speaking at a decibel level that would be appropriate if one of them were in Cleveland. Also, they both have the Throer's disease, which occurs when there is no filter attached to the brain. The conversation goes like this. I prefer a window seat. Oh, not me. I always prefer an aisle seat. That's just like my son. He lives in New Jersey and he always prefers an aisle seat. My sister-in-law works for a dentist in New Jersey. He's an excellent dentist, but he can't pronounce his R's. He says, I'm afraid you need a root canal. My brother-in-law just had that root canal. He was bleeding all over his new car, one of those Japanese ones. What do you call him, Lexus? I prefer Buick. But let me tell you, this insurance, who can afford it? I have a brother in the insurance business with angina. He prefers a window seat. Oh, not me. I always prefer an aisle seat. Now my daughter. And so it has gone for one solid hour, a live broadcast of random neural firings. But it could be worse. I could be the flight attendant. Every time she walks past the two women, they both shout, Miss! Miss! Can we get a beverage here? I'm sorry, says the flight attendant with incredible patience. patience, we can't serve any beverages until after we have taken off. This answer never seems to satisfy the women, who do not seem to be fully aware of the fact that the plane is still on the ground. As she moves away, they discuss this in what they apparently believe is a whisper. She is very rude, they say. They should fire her. Yes, they should. They're supposed to be beverage service. Miss, it's a good thing for society in general that I'm not a flight attendant, because I would definitely kill somebody. I recently watched a 40ish flight attendant, both arms occupied with a large stack of used dinner trays, struggling down the aisle, and a young man held out his coffee cup, blocking her path, and said, "Hun, can I get a refill like maybe today?" "Hun?" She smiled. "I'll be with you as soon as I can." "Sir?" "Sir? Oh, I'll be with him soon, all right. I'd get up behind him and strangle him with the movie headphone cord. Is that tight enough for you, sir?" Then I'd become a legendary outlaw flight attendant. I'd hide in the overhead luggage compartment and watch out for problems, such as people who think it's cute when their children shriek and pass salad dressing onto other passengers. When this happened, bang! The luggage compartment would burst open, and out would leap the avenging flight attendant of doom. Insane? Yes, I'm insane, and you would be too if you were here listening to these two women. Now, the pilot is making an announcement. Lightning has struck the control tower. "Miss," say the women in front of me. No problem. I can handle it. I'll just stay calm, reach into my seat pocket, very slowly pull out the headphone cord, and ha 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 ha. Thank you.
This monologue has been taken from My Fair Lady, a perennially popular film. It was released in 1964 and won 7 Academy Awards. This piece is Henry Higgins's early song confirming he is an ordinary man without the need for woman. Well, after all, Pickering, I am an ordinary man who desires nothing more than just an ordinary chance to live exactly as he likes and do precisely what he wants. An average man am I, of no eccentric whim, who likes to live his life free of strife, doing all he thinks is best for him. Well, just an ordinary man. But let a woman in your life, and your serenity is true. She'll redecorate your home from the cellar to the dome, and then go on to the enthralling fun of overhauling you. Let a woman in your life, and you're up against a wall. Make a plan and you'll find she has something else in mind. And so rather than to either, you do something else that neither likes at all. You want to talk of Keats and Milton, but she only wants to talk of love. You go to see a play or a ballet, but you spend it searching for her love. Let a woman in your life, and you invite eternal strife. Let them buy their wedding bands for those anxious little hands. I'll be equally as willing for a dentist to be drilling than to ever let a woman in my life. I'm a very patient man, even-tempered and good-natured, who you'll never hear complain, who has the milk of human kindness by the quaternary vein. A sort who never could, never would let an insulting remark escape his lips. Very gentle man. But let a woman in your life, and patience hasn't got a chance. She will beg you for your advice, and your reply will be concise, and she will listen very nicely, and then go out and do exactly what she wants. You are a man of grace and polish, who never spoke above a hush. All at once, you're using language that will make a sailor blush. Let a woman in your life, and you're plunging in a knife. Let others of my kind tie the knot around their necks. I prefer a new edition of the Spanish Inquisition than to ever let a woman in my life. In a line that never ends comes an army of her friends, come to jabber and to chatter, and tell her what the matter is with you. Let a woman in your life, let a woman in my life, let a woman in my life. I shall never let a woman in my life. Thank you.
Children's manual labor forced upon them by their exploiters. It captures the immortality of exploiting children as workers and condemns both the people and societal institutions that uphold child labor as a practice. The Cry of the Children by Elizabeth Barry Brown.
Do ye hear the children weeping, O my brothers? Ere the sorrow comes with years, they are leaning their young heads against their mothers, and that cannot stop their tears.
The young lambs are bleating in the meadows. The young birds are chirping in the nest. The young fawns are playing with the shadows. The young flowers are blowing toward the west.
But the young children, oh my brothers, they are weeping bitterly. They are weeping in the playtime of the others, in the country of the free.
They look up with their pale and sunken faces, and their looks are sad to see. For the man's grief abhorrent draws and presses on the cheeks of infancy. Your old earth, they say, is very trimmed. Our young feet, they say, are very weak. Few paces have we taken yet are weary. Our grave rest is very far to see. As the old why they weep and not the children. For the outside earth is cold, and we young ones stand without in our bewildering, and the graves are for the old. True, say the children. It may happen that we die before our time. Little Alice died last year. Her grave is shaken like a snowball in the wind. We looked into the pit, prepared to take her. Was no room for any work in the close plane. From the sleep when she lied, none will wake her, crying, "Get up, little Alice, it is day." If you listen by that grave, in sun and shower, little Alice never cries. Could we see her face? Be sure we should not know her, for the smile has time for growing in her eyes. It is good when it happens.
out to feel your fingers led them through. But the answer are your cowslips of the meadows like our weeds near the mine. We was quiet in the dark of the cool shadows from your pleasures fair and fine. For oh, say the children, we are many. If we cared for any meadows, it were merely to drop down in them and sleep. For all day we drive the wheels of iron in the factories round and round. For all day the wheels are droning, turning, till our hearts turn, our heads with pulses burning, and the walls turn in their places. All are turning all the day and we with all. And sometimes we could pray, oh, ye wheels, stop! Be silent for a minute.
Hello, you're speaking to absolutely no one by G. Herron. A week ago, I ordered some merchandise through a mail order catalog. It wasn't what I had ordered at all. So I called the customer service department. The phone rang 28 times. Finally, a voice said, "Hello." "Good morning," I said, but the voice at the other end turned out to be a machine. "Your call is important to us," it lied. "All of our operators are busy at the moment, but if you'll please stay on the line, the calls will be answered in the order in which they were received." I quickly said, "But I want to..." I didn't say it quickly enough. The phone clicked, and I found myself listening to a cheerful song. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay, my oh my, what a wonderful day. The song was cheerful enough, but I was certainly not having a wonderful day. I wanted to get the merchandise I had ordered and paid for. After a brief wait of what seemed like 7 weeks, the phone clicked again, and I heard another eerie voice. It said, "If you wish to continue in English, press 1. If you do not wish to continue in English, press anyone." I pressed 1, and another robotic voice said, "Usted rufe para uns." What language was this? Spanish, German, Lithuanian, Swahili? I didn't know. It wasn't English, I knew that much. I hung up and dialed again. All of the operators were still busy. When I finally got the menu, I tried pressing 1 again, and this time got an annoyingly cheerful automatonic voice. It said, "If you wish to place an order, press 1. If you wish to inquire about the status of an order not yet received, press 2. If you wish information about other merchandise, press 3. Press now. Press now. But none of those are the reasons I called. I hung up and dialed again. This time I outsmarted them. I pressed 0 for operator. It worked. Or so I thought. I got another mechanical voice. It said, "Please enter your mailing number, which is in the yellow box of your shipping carton." The carton was in the garage. I set the phone down and raced out to get the number. When I got back to the phone, I heard another song. "Hello, is it me?
that time. I said, if you think I want to order something from pages 1 to 25, press 1. If you think I want to order something from pages 26 to 50, press 2. She hung up, and I smirked. That had felt good. Really good. Thank you.